Attorney Clyde Hanks sits at his desk, looking over the day's schedule. The stress of taking on high-profile cases over the years has taken its toll. Nevertheless, despite a few wrinkles and touches of gray, Clyde is no worse for wear. At the age of 30, he made partner with the impressive Raleigh & Sons Limited law firm. A rational man, Clyde possesses what one would call a strong sense of intuition. In the past, this has served him well. In his childhood, it saved him from a most certain death, and now as an adult, it allows him to spot inconsistencies in the prosecution's arguments. Winning the majority of his cases has gained him popularity in the legal field. This success has opened the door to higher power clientele, more publicity, and higher visibility. May 20th. Seemed like any ordinary day at the office as Clyde immerses himself into his work. No matter how hard he tries to focus, his mind continues to wander. The final 2 weeks proved to be the most difficult for him to handle. He constantly finds himself thinking about moving into his newly purchased home, even to the point of obsessing over it.
Why do I obsess about this house so much?
Clyde opens a drawer and thumbs through a list containing names of clientele from past, present, and future cases. As he browses through the stack, one name catches his attention: George Mason. Something about this client resonates with Clyde. Maybe it's because George was obsessive like him. Clyde opens the folder and begins to skim through the specifics of the case. George worked as a bartender at a popular nightclub. A compulsive gambler, one of his favorite haunts after work was the Gold Strip Casino. He loved the nightlife and the thrill of hitting it big. The casino's locale attracts a more nefarious breed like prostitutes and drug dealers. Inside, security guards patrol the gambling area, looking for any sign of trouble. One night at the casino, George is sitting at a gaming table, trying his hand at a game of blackjack, when he hears commotion coming from the back of the room. 2 security guards are removing some unruly patrons, a powerful syndicate of drug dealers that had laid claim to that area of the city. One of the drug dealers takes exception with a few of the guards at the way his associates are being treated. The situation escalates out of control, from arguing into a full melee. The security guards struggle amidst the chaos as more members of the syndicate join the fray. The intensity builds to a boiling point, then gunshots ring out. In his haste to get out of the building, George runs into an old friend who calls himself Slavo, a heavy for Jimmy the Bookie.
Well. If it isn't me old pal George. You know Jimmy's been looking for you. He don't like it when stiffs like you don't pay on time. Hey, Louie, come over here.
A behemoth approaches, wearing a sly grin.
George, so you come to pay us what you owe.
Hey, I was just coming by to see you, to give you what I...
Shut up. We don't want to hear that crap. Jimmy sent us here to give you a little message.
Louie begins to pummel George to the ground, who retaliates by drawing a .38 caliber revolver, then squeezing off 2 rounds. The first bullet enters Louie's skull. The second enters Slavo's chest. George rises to his feet and flees the scene, leaving the 2 men wounded and bleeding on the sidewalk. Later, at the hospital, despite 4 hours of surgery, Slavo dies on the operating table, while Louie sustains irreversible brain damage. At the trial, prosecution brings up the issue on the use of deadly force. The defendant claims self-defense, but the state wants to prosecute for first-degree murder. The prosecution's case is strong, and things are not looking good for George. The trial goes back and forth with both sides duking it out like 2 heavyweight fighters in a big money fight. The case is finally brought before the jury to decide. All rise. The prosecution and defense stand up along with the jury. The judge faces the jury. How do you find the defendant? On the capital offense of murder in the first degree, we, the above entitled jury, find the defendant, George Mason, not guilty. Words cannot express the joy Clyde feels at that moment. After 6 grueling hours, Clyde eventually wins the case on a technicality, based on evidence of crime scene contamination. It seems during the confusion, the crucial evidence, a hard shell casing, had been picked up, kicked around, and stepped on during the ruckus. A rookie cop neglected to seal off the crime scene. Another blow to justice. Clyde walks out of the courtroom victorious as he punches his fist into the air. Back in his office, Clyde sits down, grabs George Mason's file, and places it in his file cabinet under completed cases. He sits back, grabs a Cuban cigar, and chomps down on it, savoring the taste of victory. Then remembers that escrow has just closed on his new home.
Oh, now is the perfect opportunity to take a little time off. A week, perhaps. No, much longer. Let's take a month.
Clyde pulls out a cell phone from his coat pocket and calls Scott.
Hello? Hey, Scott. I hear escrow closed last week on the house. You bet. Congratulations, the house is officially yours.
Clyde ends the call and walks out of the building. While walking to his car, he sees the voluptuous Annie Mae Lucero, county prosecutor and longtime friend, walking just a few feet ahead of him.
Don't worry, Annie. Things will get better.
Annie turns around.
What did you say?
Clyde catches up to her.
I won again.
The double murder trial? It's been all over the news lately.
Clyde nods and smirks like a proud papa.
But how? That guy was guilty of sin.
Annie pauses and hesitates.
Listen, have lunch with me and I'll tell you all about it. Come on. It's on me, okay? It's on me.
Oh, okay.
Clyde gets into his car, sets down his briefcase, starts up the car, and turns on the radio. At first there is static. Then he picks up a weak signal that sounds like two people having a conversation. The whispery voice comes in loud and clear. Startled, Clyde turns the station.
Okay, that was strange.
He starts up the car, takes out his cell phone, and calls the moving company. A burly man chewing on a cheap cigar, in his late 40s, answers the phone.
Cadillac Moving Company, how may I help you? Yes, I'm moving to my new house in a few days and I'm in need of your services.
The man pauses and chops down on the cigar.
Yeah? Where to? 1220 Carlton Lane in Deadwood, Nevada. Okay, you got it. Expect my guys to arrive at your place at around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Alright?
Clyde ends the call. He pulls into the parking lot and sees a sign that reads, Rafa's Indian Cuisine. He gets out of the car, looks around, and walks inside. A hostess greets him at the door.
Table for two, please.
Aye, where would you like to sit?
How about in the back, in the corner there?
Clyde follows the woman past the table, where a man and woman are having a disagreement. The man stops arguing and glances at Clyde and says,
You will die.
What? Excuse me?
Sir, are you alright? Are you okay?
Clyde shakes his head in confusion, glares at the man and the waitress.
Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm okay.
Don't worry about it.
Follow me, please. Ah, here you are, sir. A table for two. I hope this will suffice.
This will be just fine. Thank you.
Clyde takes his seat and waits. 5 minutes later, Annie appears in the doorway. Clyde sees her and beckons her to come join him. She sees Clyde sitting in the back and walks toward his table.
Glad you could make it.
Now, tell me your secret for winning those heart-like cases.
Clyde beckons Annie closer. She leans in. Clyde looks around like he wants no one else to hear what he has to say.
The secret is...
He pauses again, which drives the often patient Annie mad.
Out with it!
Okay, it's intuition.
Intuition?
Yes. I have a sixth sense that helps me to navigate through the diatribe of whether a defendant is innocent or guilty.
So you were saying that it's a gift?
Yeah, I guess you can say that. By the way, I just got word from my realtor that I got the house on Carlton Lane.
That's great, Clyde. I am so happy for you.
Annie gives Clyde a warm hug. They lift up their glasses of wine and toast Clyde's good news.
What does your son think about all of this? Gerald's a grown man. He'll be alright.
The next day, Clyde wakes up and begins to pack his stuff. He walks into the living room, draws back the curtains, and is greeted with a sunny morning. As he walks away, the window fogs up like someone blew their breath on it, as the words, "You will die," appear as if out of nowhere.
Huh?
Clyde stops and turns around. The words and the condensation are gone. Clyde shrugs it off and continues packing. There's a knock at the door. Clyde looks through the peephole and sees two uniformed men standing there.
Cadillac Moving Company. Come on in, fellas, come on in. Listen, fellas, I'm leaving tonight. Do you think we could have this all done by then? Don't sweat it.
Later on that evening, everything is packed and ready to go. Clyde gets the last of his personal belongings and places them in his car. He comes back, locks the front door, and gets into his car. He takes a last look at the place that he's called home for the last 10 years and pulls out of the driveway. He emerges onto the highway, turns on the radio, and finds a country music station to his liking. 2 hours later, he sees